What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. This is episode number 9 of season 2 of F1 2018 career mode. This is the Austrian Grand Prix. There you can see a brief little look at the championship standings. You can see we are leading by 16 points over Lewis Hamilton. Quite the turnaround from the start of the season when we started upgrading this car massively in terms of the downforce. But we're here for the 9th round of the season. At the moment, we're on a pretty amazing streak. I think it's like 3 race wins in a row and like 4 wins out of the last 5 races. Hopefully we can go for a record and maybe make that 4 race wins in a row. I don't think I've ever done that in career mode, so hopefully we can do that today. But upgrade wise, we had 1 or 2 upgrades fail actually. One was a minor one for the ERS deployment, and then the other one was for a major weight redistribution. So unfortunately that set us back a little bit, but hopefully we should be pretty competitive nonetheless as all the other teams continue to move forward in this season. Moving on to qualifying now, you can see session 1 went pretty well. P1 over the rest of the field. I think it was a 1 minute 3.6, which is absolutely insane times. I think at this point we're faster than the top time trial times, so that just shows how incredible the upgrades are working for us at the moment. But Q2, we're going out there on a set of super soft tires. Again, that was a really solid lap, 1 minute 4.0. That lap itself was even riddled with a couple of mistakes. One where I made a mistake out of turn 2, didn't lay down the traction all too well. Still managed to get P5 though, so pretty close at the top there. And I believe Sebastian Vettel followed me through as well on the super soft tires, so he'll possibly be one to watch in the race. But here we are now for qualifying 3. I think we have 3 sets of ultra soft tires to use for this session, so we can go absolutely ballistic. But for this first part of the session, I was only going out on the free set of tires that the game gives you. So hopefully if this lap is good enough, we will only need this set of tires, and maybe we can use the ultra softs in the race. We'll have to wait and see. The tire wear is pretty good on this car, but who knows what the strategy is. I believe it might be a one-stop anyway. But here we go through the middle sector. Pretty good lap so far. Hamilton pretty slow there, 1 minute 4.2. As always, the AI going a little bit slower, at least in the early part of qualifying 3. But I believe we're going purple to the middle sector through the final couple of corners now. This is where the AI seems to be a little bit weak as well. We can absolutely throw the car in with tremendous amounts of pace through the final corner up to the line. This will be a 1 minute 3.3.
You've just put in the fastest lap. Good job.
Quite the lap. I think it's 8 tenths clear of Hamilton, still on his 1 minute 4.2. And with that lap, I don't believe I saw any other AI get near this time in qualifying, or whether it be in practice sessions. So I thought going forward for the rest of the session I'd be safe, and in fact I was. Pole position by 2.5 tenths. The AI all improves right at the death there, but as I thought, didn't think they would improve by that much, and it is pole. So 2.5 tenths clear of Hamilton. Leclerc could have done better, to be honest. I feel like Sauber is now the best car, but his pace, especially in Q3, is always a little bit patchy, so we'll have to wait and see how he progresses in the race. Tyre wear on our car is really, really phenomenal, especially when you saw what happened in the French Grand Prix. Charles just mowed down Lewis Hamilton on older tyres in the dying laps of that race. So I'd imagine he's going to come through, especially if we're on a one-stop strategy today. But it is all up in the air. Don't know what the weather is doing. Still don't know what the strategy is. I'm still hoping for a one-stop. That'll really play into our strengths of our car. But it's time now for the Austrian Grand Prix. There's nothing else really to cover engine-wise. I think we're pretty good. We're on our second round of components all around the car, except for the energy store. We'll probably have to replace that after this Grand Prix, but otherwise, we're looking pretty good. Let's go to the race.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg, and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship, except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Alright, chaps. It's race time now for the Austrian Grand Prix. Strategy-wise, it actually looks pretty close between the 1 and the 2 stop, though it's looking like ours is slightly faster, especially once you consider in our tyre wear as well on the 2 harder compounds. So me and Vettel are going to be pretty well placed in this one. Vettel is down in P5 or P6, so he has a bit of traffic to get through, so that is definitely an advantage for us in this race. On the formation lap, we had a weird moment where Esteban Ocon and Lance Stroll were disqualified off the grid, but otherwise we are ready to get this race underway. From pole position, it's going to be a little bit harder to get the car off the line on the harder compound tyre, but hopefully we should be alright. 5 red lights, and away we go. The Austrian Grand Prix. Looks like the initial getaway was pretty good there off the line, but it's actually Bottas who's coming out of nowhere to challenge for the lead heading into turn 1. I was so distracted by Bottas. Oh, we've got front wing damage. Brilliant. Let's have a look at that again. Off the start. Like I said, I was distracted by Bottas a little bit. Locked up the inside front and then kind of fell off the circuit, rejoined, and Hamilton was right there. It was only the lightest of grazes as well. I thought it would have been fine, but simulation damage finally bites us here in this 2018 Formula 1 season, and now we have it all to do in this race. Yellow front wing damage. It's going to be pretty costly through some of these high-speed corners here in Austria. You can see that we missed the apex by an absolute mile through here. The cornering speed. I mean, the fact that we have heavy fuel on as well is definitely not helping. The car feels like an absolute boat through these corners, but hopefully we can get a feel for it and drive around the pain that we're experiencing at the moment. We let Charles Leclerc go through there. He's going to be much faster than us, especially with this tyre wear coming into this now. Probably best to play the team game and let him go through while we deal with our issues, but I don't know how much slower we're going to be for the rest of this stint now. I want to say like half a second a lap slower, so it's going to be quite tricky to deal with these guys in the front running cars, so we'll see what we can do. We're running 3 wide now into turn 2. We have the inside. It should help us out a little bit. Bottas gets squeezed out by Raikkonen. We get a fairly decent exit as well, and we do have decent straight line speed, so we might be able to just about hold on to this, but I don't know for how long, though, as we go into the 3rd sector. Still 3 wide for the 3 of us, and again, we come out on top and hold on to the podium. Meanwhile, all this battling is allowing my teammate to run away with this race, so hopefully I can continue to play the team game for Sauber. There goes Raikkonen up the inside. This was the section of the circuit that I was most worried about. Someone going slowly in the back straight there. Looks like a Red Bull, I'm not too sure. Lewis Hamilton setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Hopefully Charles with his tyre wear can come into it later on in the race. Up the inside we go of Kimi Raikkonen into turn 1. Again, we seem to be pretty fast with the 3rd sector. The AI are really weak there. Straight line speed is decent on these start-finish and then back straight, but then it's the middle sector where we just have no pace at all. This is, yeah, like I said, one of the Red Bulls going slowly. I think that is Daniel Ricciardo. No, it's Verstappen with the front left puncture. Thankfully, he stays out of the way for the leaders. That looks a bit problematic, though. And I think that's Bottas, who has completely run into the back of Verstappen and is now out of the Grand Prix. Virtual safety car has been deployed as well, and that completely turns his race on its head. So, because of that, we're now going to come into the pits. We're going to change the tyres. We're going to fix the front wing, and we're going to get our race back in order. I don't know how this is going to play out now with strategy, whether we can make these softs last to the end. It's just completely up in the air now, and we may have to stop again. But Valtteri Bottas is out of the Grand Prix. Had to make that decision right at the last second to make the most of the VSC. But unfortunately, as we rejoin on the circuit, the front wing wasn't changed. Despite putting change front wing on yes. Which is really annoying because now it's set us back by a pit stop. We now potentially have to do another pit stop in this race. And still further to that, we still have the damage. And we have to take a 5-second penalty for changing the front wing later on if we do make another stop in this race. So whatever way you look at it, we're pretty stuffed here in this race. All because the pit crew didn't change it. Which is really, really unfortunate. We're going to have to live with this now with the soft compound tyre. Run long into the race. Hope like hell that there's a safety car. And take the race from there. But we're still going to be a lot faster than the midfield runners. We're still going to be faster than the back markers. It's just, we're going to lose so much time to those people that we're actually racing in this Grand Prix, which is a real shame. But we're going to get on with it nonetheless. I just think that we left the decision to change the front wing too late. I guess it's better to learn these things in career mode than what it is in online, in league racing. That'd be pretty traumatic to go through that and then lose out all this time. But anyway, we're in quite a scrappy battle here with the Toro Rosso and the Williams. It's 3 wide again for the second time in this race, up the inside. Seems to be our preferred line through some of these battles. But we get those 2 positions, which is nice and handy. DRS coming in quite nicely for us there, up the inside. Really tight for space, running 3 cars through there, and we all managed to do that cleanly, which was absolutely awesome. So a race where we're really struggling, it seems. We have a lot of pace, but we've just been thrown onto the back foot after that first corner collision. It's thrown us into the pack, and now the racing so far has been pretty good. I really have enjoyed this race racing-wise. I mean, we have a huge lead in the championship, 16 points. We have the fastest car. So it's not like I'm panicked, so it's not like I'm worried or anything. If we put together a good race, I still feel like we can come through the field quite nice. It almost is like a real-life Grand Prix scenario where one of the front-running teams is down the pack and they have to recover to get back through the field. So hopefully, I don't know, hopefully we can get like top 6. That would be nice. But it all depends on how slow we are versus the front-running teams. But anyway, that's another double overtake into turn 2. Just casually, talking about strategy, talking about damage, while we're engrossed in a 3-car battle there. Such is the, I don't know, the racing that we've got used to so far in this Grand Prix. If this was a normal episode, you'd see me racing 2 cars, I'd be going nuts. But I know that we have a lot of racing left to go, and I have to pace myself just a little bit. That was my teammate coming out of the pits there. And he's already made his pit stop, so he is looking pretty good in this one. Looking likely that the 1 stop is the preferred strategy for at least the front-running teams anyway. But that's us up the inside of Brendan Hartley. It's pretty awkward here as well because I don't really have the downforce to run side by side with another car, and it just makes it very awkward. The mid-corner speeds are nowhere, but we get the move done anyway and move up into, I think it was P8 before a couple more people made their stops. So here's a running order of the grid. You can see that's Lewis Hamilton getting chased down by my teammate Charles Leclerc. One of the Renaults was leading before making a pit stop, relinquishing everyone else into their natural positions now. So we emerge in P3. We did a huge undercut on everyone going onto the softs. And we did gain time by doing the pit stop under virtual safety car, which really got us out of trouble there. But the problem is these tyres won't go to the end, I don't think. And I do want to get off this broken front wing and put a new one on and really extract the pace, just in case there is a late safety car, virtual safety car, or anything like that. We can really push towards the end of the race. I mean, we could probably try and stretch the softs to get to the end, but being us in the championship position we're in, the car that we have so much pace. We should be able to get the track position back anyway, so we're going to do the 2 stop. We're going to change the front wing in this stop, and we're going to fit on a set of Super Soft tyres. I think Super Softs will make it to the end pretty safely. We should be able to push pretty hard, but yeah, here we go for a very quick 12-lap stint to the end of the race. We're going to get overtaken by the Ferraris, the Renaults. This will put us towards the back end of the top 10. With the pace we have, we should be able to mount a pretty solid challenge. Very slow stop there, 7.6. So here we go, rejoining on the circuit. This is us fighting Brendan Hartley, who we were just fighting just a few moments ago. He then made his stop. But anyway, side by side, I almost thought we were going to lose our front wing just as we exited the pits. That would be very cruel luck, but we managed to survive. And now for the first time in this Grand Prix, we can really unlock the race pace and see what we can do. I'd imagine that we're going to set a few purple laps here in an effort to chase down the runners inside the top 10. So it's at least going to be a few points. It's just a case of how many points we're going to get out of this. There's a few cars up the road beyond signs. There's a Renault, there's a Red Bull, a Force India, and I think another Renault as well, just a little bit beyond the road as well. As we go fast as they 1 minute 5.7, so pretty solid time there as we get around the outside. Well, it's really inside, isn't it, of Carlos Sainz there, P9. Next up is Ocon. These guys all now really conserving and looking after their tyres. Probably don't have too much in terms of fuel to play with either. Whereas us, the fuel burn isn't too bad and we're able to push quite hard, and we're just making mincemeat of these guys at the back end of this race. So here we go. This is another move on Ocon. I've been preferring to go around the outside through turn 2 because it gives you the inside for the next left-hander, and on fresher tyres with a full front wing, that is much easier to execute than the move that we did on Brendan Hartley a little earlier on in the race, and that's P8. But yeah, just absolutely loving this race so far. So much racing, so much pace in this car. The car feels absolutely phenomenal around this circuit, particularly in the last 2 corners. I just feel like the car just eats up those corners for breakfast. But anyway, this is Sergio Perez up next. Said we made contact, which is surprising because I don't even think we touched. Must be, I don't know, something in the contact model that thinks that we made contact. Maybe that's the issue that we were having in the last video that I did in the league race for Bahrain, I think it was. That's a dive bomb at the inside of Hulkenberg if ever I saw one. Nice move there, P6. Next up is Ricciardo, but yeah, there may be a bigger hitbox on the 2018 cars this year, potentially, which is allowing contact to be made when contact really shouldn't be made. I'm not too sure, I'm not an expert, but a few people did suggest that in the league racing video from the other day. But anyway, we've now got ourselves back up into P5. Next up are the 2 Ferraris, and beyond that, it's just who is in P3? Who is in P3? We got Vettel. No, it's Raikkonen in P3. So it's just the 2 Ferraris to chase down. That's the fast lap of the Grand Prix. 1 minute 5.3. I knew that the pace was in there. The lap that we did set the previous personal best was set when we were stuck behind Carlos Sainz. But this is my teammate making a move on Lewis Hamilton for the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix with only a handful of laps to go. He gets the move done, and that is the lead with just a few laps left. Charles, he hasn't won a race yet this season, and if he can pull this off, could potentially get himself back in the championship fight. We'll have to wait and see. But Hamilton, once again, is getting plagued by my teammate, Charles Leclerc, in the dying laps of Grand Prix. I don't know if the French Grand Prix was the last episode, but in that one, we got chased down by Charles. It's happened again. He'd be absolutely furious.
There's only 1 lap of fuel remaining.
Thanks, Jeff. That's a pretty obvious observation to make when we're heading on to the last lap of the Austrian Grand Prix. Vettel is up next. The Ferraris, just everyone in front of us has no pace at the back end of this Grand Prix. With us on our fresher, super soft tyres, we get that move done pretty effectively around the outside into turn 1, no less, which is a pretty impressive move to make on a car like that. Around the outside, was very shocked that Vettel didn't really force the move or force more of a defensive counter on us there. A bit of contact was made around the outside there, which might have made things more difficult for Vettel, but otherwise, that was the race. And this is going to be the first race victory for my teammate Charles Leclerc in Formula 1. What a drive.
First time I'm happy about the job I do. Yeah, great race. Bravo, bravo, bravissimo.
Bad luck. It just wasn't our day today.
A great win then for the Sauber team today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
So, here they come out now onto the podium after a thrilling Grand Prix. It just goes to show what a strong position the sport is in, that these independent teams can be so competitive. What a superb victory from the Sauber team.
What an awesome job. When I seem to bottle the race, my teammate comes up trumps, gets his first victory in his career for the season, for Sauber. And for the team, that's what, 4 races in a row? And if you count I think it'll be like 5 out of 6 races. 5 wins from Sauber out of the last 6 races, which is a pretty darn good record. For us, it was P4 in the end there. Good recovery after we dropped to last. Pitting under virtual safety car. Didn't get the front wing change in the pit stop, which really set us back. Would have been really interesting to see where that would have put us up the road if we would have got that front wing change in. Our laps would have been so much better. Half a second a lap over the course of 10, 20 laps. I think we could have got third even with that extra pit stop. But anyway, that was the Grand Prix. 250 points, or just about there for the team. I think championship-wise, we lost a few points to our teammate. Lewis gained by 3 points, so I think the gap is probably like 13 points, but otherwise, a pretty good day for the team. I think Charles has overtaken Vettel in the standings, so pretty good day for him, but he's still a good, I want to say like 40 points away from the lead of the championship. He needs to get on a few wins now, build that momentum, and hope that I have a few more bad races to get in this championship fight, because now he's going to be our biggest rival, being at the other side of the garage. I'd imagine some of the other teams, Mercedes especially, will be the ones that kind of fall by the wayside. Mercedes is kind of a team that I've noticed in just other people's career modes. It doesn't really like to upgrade all too much, so I'd imagine we might be able to stretch away from those guys. We'll have to wait and see. But guys, that has been this episode for today, the Austrian Grand Prix. Upgrade wise, we spent about 1,000 resource points just fixing up the failed upgrades that happened at the start of this episode. So the ERS deployment and also the major weight redistribution. So that was, yeah, the best part of 1,000 resource points there. And unfortunately, we don't have enough to do any more upgrades. I think we would just miss out by like 20, 30 points. So that's pretty unfortunate. But heading into the next episode, we already have 550 to start off with. I think we'll be able to maybe get close to 2,000 resource points at the end of the next episode and really go ham with some upgrades heading into the second half of the season. But guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I see plenty more racing game content. And until the next episode, which I believe is the British Grand Prix, I'll see you next time.